Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Mobilize Your Company, Mobile Workflows, Forms, and Dashboards. I'm your host, Ellie Stutz. I'm the Head of Knowledge and Collaboration at PNMsoft. And with me today is James Luxford, who's the Global Head of Product for PNMsoft. James, it's nice to have you here today with us.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And this is an exciting webinar. Mobile is exciting anywhere at any time. And the format of today's webinar is, first we're going to talk about the concept of mobilizing your business and in general mobile in business and what it's done to the business world. We're going to have a little question and answer period with James about mobile in business. Then James is going to be showing us all a demo of ProcessTOGO, which is our mobile BPM portal where you can actually operate and monitor workflows within a mobile interface. And then we'll be taking your questions and trying to answer some of your questions. As we go along, you're welcome to add your questions in the GoToMeeting panel where it says questions. You're welcome to just write those in, and we'll try to take your questions in the question period later on. So the age of mobile is here. And this is not, this is obvious. This is almost common sense. I think that most of us who are at the webinar right now, I'm sure have used their mobile phone today. I'm sure we all have mobile phones or tablets that we're using. And these are just, I'm just bringing up some of the statistics on specifically mobile in business. And some of them are, you might have been able to predict it, some of them might surprise you. But you know, if even in an anecdotal way, at lunch today, I'm sure that you spoke with your coworkers about your mobile devices. You know, what's better, the iPhone, the new iPhone, the Galaxy? We have someone here who just got their Nexus. It's such a forefront topic of conversation today, and it's such a main part of our lives. So this is almost obvious, but just some of the statistics here. Gartner predicting that more people will use mobile phones than PCs to get online this year. Over 15% of the EU workforce can now be described as a mobile worker, meaning that they spend more than 10 working hours per week away from home and their main place of work. Interesting factoid here, 2/3 of all mobile workflows in the UK are men. Over 90% of employers say they offer some kind of flexible working option, and over 70% of employees express an interest in working from home at least part of the time. And I guess I think I would fall into that 70% there myself. It's very likely that you heard about this webinar on your mobile device because we're all checking our emails now and indeed our work emails on our mobile. And this, of course, spills into the consumer mobile usage, with 47% of consumers saying that they use their smartphone to search for local information, such as stores they want to visit, and the like. So obviously, the use of the mobile phone is just becoming more and more pervasive in our lives and in our business lives as well. Analysts such as Gartner have identified this, and they identify that mobile is one of the 4 main elements of what they call extreme collaboration in business, and the other 4 being cloud and social and information. And just the fact that this is one of the main 4 elements of achieving business success today is mobile. Emphasizes how crucial analysts have realized that mobile has become for business. And now the question is, does it actually improve business? Does it improve productivity and worker satisfaction? And the statistics are showing that indeed it does. We have such stats as that 87% of managers report increased productivity as a result of remote working, and that an average remote worker spends 11% more hours working than an office-based worker. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but certainly more productivity. And I'm not going to read off all of these statistics, but not only the productivity, but also the satisfaction of workers is affected by mobile. 75% of employers say they feel that staff arrive to work stressed after commuting, whereas remote workers are able to avoid this burden altogether. And we're seeing more reduced absenteeism by 3.1% due to remote working. 65% of employers said that flexible working practices had a positive effect on recruitment and retention, and about half of working parents feel their relationship with their children improve when they have more working flexibility. So whereas some people might say that, you know, if the parents are always on their mobile, then they have less time with the children, it's possible that it's actually the opposite, where the parent has more flexibility, can sometimes work from home, spend more time in the home, and that can actually improve family life there. So those are just some of the statistics. Let's take a look at where we've come from and where we're heading to. This is a kind of a progression that I've laid out here of mobile tools in business. So remember Palm Pilots? Remember when we used Palm Pilots back in 1997? That's when business users started to use Palm Pilots. Those were the first Palm Pilots came out. In 2002, mobile phones began to be connected to the internet. 2007 was the appearance of the smartphone, and this really started to bring mobile use into the business world exponentially from that point onward. Where in 2009, mobile apps for business use started to become popular on iPhone and Android devices, and by today and onward into 2013 and onward, we're seeing a high percentage of business users who are actually doing work on their smartphone and tablet devices. And here are just some examples of common apps or services that many of us use, I'm sure, who are at this webinar today on their mobile devices, whether it be the Gmail email app or connecting with colleagues over LinkedIn, using Dropbox and SkyDrive to share files, and even accessing such enterprise applications such as SharePoint and Dynamic CRM via mobile device, because you're going to a meeting with a potential customer. You've got your mobile device. You want the information on that customer at your fingertips, so you're going to log into your Dynamics using your mobile device. So that actually leads us right into the idea of a Mobile BPM suite. So what's the idea behind this? What is Mobile BPM? So Mobile BPM enables workers to complete their process and workflow tasks at the time and in the place and via the medium that best suits their personal preferences. That's the idea. The idea is that we have these business processes that we've been managing over PC, and now we have workers who are working by remote on their mobile and tablet devices. We want to enable them to continue operating those business processes, which are often a line of business, mission-critical part of their business, while they're on their mobile device. And we're going to soon see a demo of how that actually works. And I would say that what this leverages is the location of the worker's availability, and the increased ability for workers to collaborate with each other, and also the ease of use, of course, that comes with mobile. And this also comes with some challenges, which we'll be talking about a little bit. The challenge of information security on mobile devices, which must be addressed first and foremost. The screen size on mobile devices, which is obviously smaller than on PCs, and finally the scope of features that can be offered on a mobile device, which sometimes have to be trimmed down to the most important features, just because of the limitation of screen size and other limitations. So we'll be talking about all that as we go through this webinar, and we'll be showing you a demo of ProcessTOGO, which is our business process management suite on a mobile device. That's sequence kinetics, and the ProcessTOGO is actually the mobile module. And some of the features you'll be seeing is the fact that we support all tablets and smartphone devices, that we enable process and task management on a mobile device. You'll see how mobile forms can be created in one click. You'll take a look at some geolocation features that we have on mobile devices. The fact that users can upload photos, that they can collaborate with each other using social collaboration tools, the fact that they can access dashboards and reports on their mobile, and finally that they can approve tasks in one click via their mobile. So that's just a little taste of what you're going to get to see in the demo. And I'd like to introduce again James Luxford, who is PNMsoft's Global Head of Product. James is responsible for working with customers, business and technology partners, and the industry to provide global direction for PNMsoft's business process management product suite, which is Sequence Kinetics. And James, I have a question for you. We're going to have a little round of questions with James. When is Mobile BPM the most effective?
Okay. First of all, thanks for that great introduction, Ellie. I think it set the scene very well. So Mobile BPM, it's most effective when it supports the knowledge workers being able to work in the way that suits them at that particular time. So we touched on it earlier. The concept, Mobile BPM, it's not about providing a mobile app that will allow someone to do a particular job. It's about allowing people to, rather than be attached to their laptop and only being able to action their tasks and their work when they're at their laptop, it's about allowing them to do that work while they're out and about, wherever they may be. But most importantly, giving them the choice of working in the way that is most appropriate at the time. So if I'm in the office one day, I can action all my tasks on my laptop. While I'm on the train on the way home, I may use email to do it. And then once I'm at home, I may use my mobile portal sequence ProcessTOGO to action my work. So it's about enabling people to be able to work in the way that suits them at that particular time.
Okay.
And Mobile BPM, as Ellie has touched on, is becoming more and more important as we are becoming more and more mobile. And mobile can also mean not just working from home. It can mean being out and about in the factory, being at different locations, visiting customers. So being mobile means lots of different things.
Okay. Now, what problems can mobile process operations solve?
Okay. One thing that we at PNMsoft have worked hard on over the years is reducing what we call the human latency. Human latency is the delays that you have in business processes, whereby delays are caused in those processes because people aren't getting around to doing their jobs, their tasks, their approvals as quickly as we would perhaps like. Now, of course, you can only go so far to reduce human latency, but by automating a process, by allowing people to be able to see what tasks they've got, probably more importantly, be able to action them quickly, it helps us to reduce that human latency, and that can really reduce the full end-to-end time that processes can take. And Mobile BPM is really taking that to the next step. It's reducing the human latency down significantly, meaning processes are happening much quicker, much more effectively, much more efficiently.
Okay. Now, are mobile processes different from standard PC-based processes?
They may not be, but what we're finding our customers are doing, what they can do, it's not necessarily mobile processes versus PC-based processes. It's more a case of how people are working and allowing our customers to be able to adapt the processes so that they perhaps work slightly differently depending on the way that the customer, the end user, is working. You'll see an example of that in the demo that I give you. For instance, a service request process. if I'm
Okay,
in
so
the
maybe
office,
maybe we'll save that from
they,
for the demo.
oh, okay, fair enough. Yes, I won't steal my own thunder.
Yeah, don't
But
steal your own thunder.
yes, they can be different.
Okay. Now, what are the limitations and risks of mobile process management, and how can they be addressed?
Okay. Limitations, really, again, it comes down to, just as in the more traditional PC-based BPM, you need to consider the process carefully and how you automate it. The same applies for mobile BPM. So, for instance, you don't want someone to have to fill in a form that's got 100 fields on it if they're working on a smartphone. That's not a great user experience. So the limitations are you have to allow the users to work in a way that is suitable for the device. The risks, well, probably the main risk, I think you touched on it earlier, is that users may never get away from work, that they will be continually actioning tasks, giving approvals 24 hours a day. Some business owners may like that, but there is a risk, to the end user that they may never be able to get away. But that's really the main issue, or one of the risks of smartphones in general. You're always available.
I don't know any. I don't know anyone like that. I don't know anyone like that. I'm just kidding. What about security though?
I'll do that later.
Yeah. What about security?
Yep. So security is an interesting aspect. I mean, the security of ProcessTOGO is as good as the security for our standard, the standard way that people access sequence kinetics. Obviously, you've got the additional use problem of you're more likely to perhaps have your smartphone stolen than your laptop or even your desktop. But through common sense, through locking your smartphones, through using sensible usernames and passwords, that can be reduced. And really, security, it's a compromise between security of information and efficiency of the organization. If a business wants to be totally secure, then they just don't access the internet. But that's not going to be a productive organization. So it's about having a compromise. You may not want to put your most secure processes in the mobile from day one. You may want to do perhaps less sensitive processes. But really, the way that the world is going, we're sending emails out that are going via smartphones, that are going across the internet. It's exactly the same. Just taking sensible measures, but not trying to overkill security.
Okay. And final question: what do you see in the future of mobile business use? Maybe particularly.
You almost turn that around and say,
like particularly that has to do, I would say, with process management. But I'm not asking you to predict the future of all of mobile business, but maybe we'll focus on process management there.
I could see the point where some people aren't using their laptops, for days on end because they are doing everything in a mobile way, whether that's email, perhaps even writing documents, and actioning their tasks on smartphone devices, perhaps more tablets as well. Tablets is a very significant element of mobile business use. And here at PNMsoft, we've even considered replacing our sales teams' laptops with tablets and smartphone combos to allow them to do everything that they would do on the road. They may have access to a PC perhaps at home or in the office, but the majority of what they're doing, they're doing in a mobile way. And with the improvements in mobile connectivity and mobile apps that allow people to do pretty much everything on the mobile devices, it's going to become particularly over the next few years, it's going to become more and more prevalent that business use is mobile.
What about as far as features and functionality? Are there types of functionality which don't exist today, which you foresee being introduced?
I think we need to be careful with this one that, and I think it's perhaps something that the industry is a bit guilty of. I think the most important aspect is connectivity, making sure that we can all stay connected. I'm not 100% convinced that 4G networks are necessarily more important when I can be driving around the M25 here in the UK and keep dropping my 3G signal. So really what I think we need to see is just improvement in connectivity. So wherever I am, if I'm on a train, in my car, on a plane, I can be connected. That's what's really key, and I think that's what we'll see. I think, and certainly as the next generation of workers start coming into the workplace, that they're going to demand that they are connected 100% of the time. And even myself, if I'm ever not connected, I feel out of touch. So that's where I really think we'll go, rather than specific features and functions that are available to us. Of course, they will come, and I'm sure there's some very bright people out there thinking up some very good ideas. But I think we just need to make sure we get the fundamentals right first.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that, James. I guess I'm going to now give the floor over to you, and you'll give us a little tour of our mobile BPM, which is ProcessTOGO. And I'm just going to give the the stage over to you right now then.
Okay, just bear with me a second. Okay, so what I'm going to go through, just spend about 15 minutes, a quick look at ProcessTOGO, but set it in context with sequence kinetics as a whole, because as we've been touching on throughout the webinar, Mobile BPM isn't necessarily standalone. It's about giving people the choice to work in the way that is appropriate to them. So here we are looking at this Sequence Kinetics SharePoint-based flow time portal. And here, if I'm in the office, if I'm at home, if I've got my laptop open, this could be, well, where I work, where I action my tasks, make my approvals, start processes, and so on. Even see my dashboards, run reports. I can do everything in here. But of course, there's going to be times when I'm out and about and I want to go to my mobile device. Now, it would be nice if I could show this on my iPhone, but that's actually very tricky to do in a webinar. So we have a little picture of an iPhone here. But what we've actually got in the middle, because ProcessTOGO, it's a web mobile portal. It's accessible from any device that can access the internet with a browser. It means it works for all mobile platforms, iOS, Android, BlackBerry, Windows, and it also works for tablets as well. The advantage of tablets, you can actually work in both ways that I'm showing you here, but we're going to focus on smartphones here. And I'm going to log on to my smartphone here. I'm going to sign in. As I mentioned, you can do everything in our ProcessTOGO portal that you can do within our FlowTime PC-based portal. But what it makes use of is the smaller real estate that we have to hand. So here, first and foremost, what tasks do I need to do? More importantly, how many do I need to do today? Sequence kinetics, it allows the process designer to be able to specify when tasks need to be actioned. And to make sure that they get actioned, we let the user know when they need to do those tasks. And if they don't action them on time, then we can send them gentle reminders or perhaps even escalate those tasks to the managers. But within here, I can see all of my tasks that I have to do. and I can action those tasks. We'll come back and have a look at one of those in a moment. I can also see how many processes I've started, and I can start new processes from here as well. If I want a more specific view of my inbox, I can see all my tasks, but I can see which ones do I have due today. Thankfully, I've got nothing that I need to do today. Perhaps more importantly, which ones are overdue or which ones have closed. And with very powerful search capabilities, if there's something in the list that I need to find quickly, search allows me to pinpoint that particular message very quickly. And I can manage all of my processes, whether they are processes I've started, processes other people have started, whether they're open or closed. I can see everything in here. And I can manage them by process type as well. So here I can see all of the processes that I have permissions to start in Sequence Kinetics. We'll go through and we'll have a look at some of these in a little more detail. But fourth, but by no means least at the end, dashboards and reports. This is actually one of the aspects that our customers like most about the portal, is the ability for managers, for executives, directors, CEOs and so on, to be able to monitor their business on the mobile. Executives are quite often out and about. They just very quickly want to be able to have a look to see if there's any issues. Here we're showing perhaps tasks per month across all processes. Perhaps tasks by status. Here they're showing open, closed, but more importantly, which ones are late. I've got 233 in the system which are late. And also workflows. These are showing all workflows within Sequence Kinetics, but we can then filter those down to look at specific workflows. So if I'm only interested in service requests, I can just see, well, how many have we got per month? Can I see if we've got any trends, perhaps positive or negative trends? And I can see workflows per status. And all of these are available to me both on the mobile device and in our laptop PC-based FlowTime portal. You can add extra dashboards, reports, gauges here if you wish, and you can have them accessible on both types of portal that we have. So let's start having a look at this in more detail. I'm just going to switch back to SharePoint. Now here, I'm going to start a process as if I'm working in the office. I'm going to start a service request process. Click on the link here. This then brings me up the Sequence Kinetics web form that allows you to action this task. Sorry, not action the task, actually start the process. Including the ability to be able to show some maps from geolocation. What we're actually showing here is, rather than using geolocation here, our CRM database holds the location of Greenway and can show me the map derived from that location. And I can complete this form and I can submit it. Now I'm working in the office. There's lots of information on here. When I've got a large screen, that's fine. That's a great way for me to work. But of course, that doesn't always happen. I'm quite often out and about. So this is a service request process. I could have just actioned this as if I was a call center agent who's just received a call from a customer. But I may be one of the company's service engineers that's out visiting the customer. I haven't got my laptop open. I'm not connected to the internet with my laptop, so I want to use my mobile device. I can do exactly the same as I've just done. But from our portal. And again, I can find the particular process that I want to start very quickly, and I can launch that process. Now what's key here is I've actually started exactly the same process, but Sequence Kinetics knows I'm on a mobile device. So it's actually given me a slightly different form. If we make that full screen. I can still select customer and I can still select contacts. But here we're using the device geolocation to actually pinpoint where the device is, not where the customer is that I've selected, but where the device is, because the service engineer could be out and about, servicing a piece of equipment, speaking to the customer, whatever it may be, and at that point the most relevant piece of information isn't where the company headquarters is, it's where the particular device is at that point. And we can capture that piece of information, and that piece of information can then be used anywhere within the process. We can ask the service engineer just to fill in a few details, just the minimum details that are required in order to be able to start the service request, and perhaps someone else will add the extra information later. But we're not filling the screen up with loads and loads of pages of fields that need to be completed. It's the few pertinent bits of information that are required. But down here at the bottom, another very nice feature of ProcessTOGO is our attachments. If I do this when I'm on a laptop, if I want to add an attachment, it will just open up File Explorer and allow me to select a document from my hard drive, and I can upload that to the process. When you're on a mobile device, that doesn't quite make sense. You don't necessarily have a file structure on your smartphone with lots of documents. Of course, you may have some. What you can do when you click select on a smartphone is you can opt to either upload a photo or a document that's already on your device, or to take a photo and to use that. So this can be a very useful feature if you want to actually, let's say that I've just discovered a big pothole in the road. Geolocation tells Sequence exactly where it is. The photo can be taken of to give supporting evidence to that. That can then be uploaded and is then available to everyone in the process to do exactly what they need to do for that process. Very powerful capabilities. But what I now want to show is how we achieve this. What we're not having to do is to write two separate applications. We don't have to write something that goes on the laptop and something else that goes on mobile devices. We're not creating native apps that need to be downloaded and managed. It's all part of the same Sequence Kinetics environment. We're creating the process once, using it on many devices. And here we are, we're looking into the Sequence Kinetics design environment, our App Studio, at exactly the process that I have just been showing you. We've only shown a couple of steps, but I just want to show you how we achieve that. Over here we have our activities that we're adding to our process. We've got lots of other nice activities here, including integration with Dynamic CRM and integration with SharePoint. But let's have a look at the Sequence UX Studio, our form editor, and see how we achieve those two different types of forms. What we have for each form or task in Sequence Kinetics is, first of all, an underlying data model. These are the bits of information that we're collecting at this particular step in the process. And these are held in our table. Very easy to set these up to be able to specify exactly what bits of information we want to collect at this point in the process. But then we can define how this looks. So here is our first view. This is the form that I will see if I access Sequence Kinetics from my laptop. very rich form, lots of information in there, gathering lots of information from the user. Just changing the view to the default mobile view then shows me the view that we have for the mobile devices, cut down, more concise, but also, as if you remember, working slightly differently because it shows the geolocation of the device rather than using the stored location of the customer to display the map. So same step in the process, working subtly different. That's what I mentioned earlier about mobile processes can be slightly different from PC-based processes, fundamentally going through the same steps, but perhaps having some little nuances at each point in the process where users are actioning their particular tasks. So I've shown you how mobile forms can look differently. I just very quickly just want to show you one other important aspect of mobile working, and that's email. Email is probably the most common business app that is used when we're on our smartphones. And here I can action my tasks within the ProcessTOGO portal. Here's one that I prepared earlier. I had a service request that came in earlier. And messages, whether I receive them in ProcessTOGO, in the FlowTime portal, as email, can all contain information telling me exactly what has happened. Move that up a bit, let me go to full screen in fact. Telling me exactly what has happened, so I know everything that's happened. And I could action the task from here. In fact, this is a reminder. This wasn't actually the one that I was going to. It's actually, there we go. That was an escalation reminder that we were looking at because I hadn't actioned that previous task in time. So here we are, all the details. I am required to give an approval for a service request which has a charge associated with it. I could click on the link up here, fill in a nice little mobile form. But another capability of Sequence Kinetics is our one-click capabilities. So here, just by clicking on these buttons, I can approve, I can decline, or request more information about this step. Just another way that we can use our smartphones to be able to, I mentioned it earlier, reduce that human latency, making it easy for people to action their tasks, whether it's more comprehensive tasks or whether it's just saying, yes, I approve, or no, I decline that. This actual capability is not only available to me in ProcessTOGO, it's also available to me via more traditional email. So here I'm looking at exactly the same message, can be rendered slightly differently, so you can have, this is an HTML email, you can have your own branding, your own look and feel, your own color scheme. Exactly the same message with the buttons down here that I can click on these to action the task, what we call our one-click capabilities. So I can action the task on my laptop in our FlowTime portal. I can action it on my smartphone device using ProcessTOGO. I can action it within email, whether that's on my laptop, on my smartphone, I'm in an internet cafe browsing to my Gmail account, wherever it may be. I can action stuff quickly, easily and simply. And that's what's really key about Mobile BPM. It's about making it easy to do, and by easy, not just simple, but being able to action it how I want to and when I want to. I could say lots more about Sequence Kinetics and ProcessTOGO and Mobile BPM, but that's probably enough from me for now.
Thank you
very hand back to you.
That was excellent, James. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that demo of ProcessTOGO. And as I said, right now we'd like to take some questions from the audience. I have one question here, but if you would like to ask a question, now is the time. Just go to the questions widget within the GoToMeeting tab on the right side of your screen and enter a question. We'll be happy to field your questions. At the moment, the only question I have right now is from Dominique, who's asking regarding legislation. Can the availability of employees for work using mobile techs be argued as supplementary office hours, which is an interesting question. I think neither of us, Dominique, are legal experts in order to give you the the final answer on that one. But certainly, people who are working on their mobile phones, I think that's pretty common sense that that's office hours. The question is if it's, if you're just waiting for something to happen. That's a good question. Maybe we'll take that to our legal team afterwards. We have a few more questions coming in. Joni is asking, do I need to install a specific app in my smartphone? Do you want to field that one, James?
Certainly, and the answer to that is no. It's all browser-based, so from your smartphone device, you just browse to ProcessTOGO, so you don't need to install anything on your smartphone at all. And the reason we're taking that route is we're seeing very much a bring-your-own-device strategy being adopted by many of our customers. There's a proliferation of mobile platforms out there. What we don't want to do is have to create a separate app for each platform that our customers then have to test their processes on each platform. They just have to test them once and they can be confident that they will then work on all of the mobile devices that are out there.
Okay, we have a question from Arshad asking, can we use this tool on Office 365 or SharePoint Online?
Okay, the FlowTime portal, we will very shortly be releasing that. It is actually available there, but we haven't gone to general availability on SharePoint Online. But certainly, if anyone is interested in that, then we can accommodate them.
Okay, we have a question. How is authentication or authorization managed via mobile? It's from Michael.
Okay. I mean, as you saw, it's forms authentication where you're actually authenticating against the sequence database. Works slightly differently to how I do it on the FlowTime. The FlowTime laptop-based portal, we can implement single sign-on through a number of techniques and mechanisms, including Windows integrated authentication. But on my mobile, it is done using some very robust form authentication.
Okay, and last question we have here, how do you set up ProcessTOGO? What do you need to do that? Okay,
ProcessTOGO is just part of the installation package that comes with Sequence Kinetics. Very easy to set up. The only thing that you need to make sure is ideally that it's internet facing. Many of our customers have Sequence Kinetics installed on-premise that is only internally facing. You could install ProcessTOGO that way, but really for people to be able to use it and get maximum benefit from it, you need to have it installed on a web server that is internet facing. But otherwise, very simple to do, very straightforward and very quick.
Okay, that's excellent. Let's just wrap things up here. Thank you for your questions, and if you have more questions, you're welcome to send them in to me at les@pnmsoft.com or to James at jamesl@pnmsoft.com, and we'll be happy to field them. Let's just review some of the benefits of Mobile BPM and ProcessTOGO. First of all, and maybe most the major point is that users can work in the way that suits them. I think that's really the point of this webinar. Whether it's on tablet or on mobile, and what location they're in, they can continue working on their processes the way that it suits them. We see an increased productivity, and we've seen the statistics on that to support that, and also an increased employee satisfaction, and we also saw some statistics there. As James mentioned, one of the problems that it solves is less bottlenecks, less delays on actioning items. And that's one of the major benefits of Mobile BPM. And greater managerial visibility, those are the dashboards that you saw and that James showed in his demo, and the ability for managers to not just see what's going on in the process, but also to intervene, whether it's to action items or whether it's to approve or decline items using the one-click ability that you saw. So that also means faster response to problems and events and out of the ordinary events. And it means that mobile workers can work that much more efficiently and complete their tasks in a better manner. And it means better collaboration between team members who are on their mobiles, collaborating together on tasks. So all of those are really, I would say, some of the major benefits that you see with Mobile BPM and with ProcessTOGO. This is just a little cartoon of maybe one of the earlier versions of Mobile BPM. I think we've really gotten ahead since then, but there you go. That's Mobile BPM. Voila. And just a little bit about Sequence Kinetics in general as an intelligent business process management software suite, which extends Microsoft platforms such as SharePoint, Dynamics, and Azure with mobile, social, and hot change capabilities. Sequence Kinetics is actually powered by unique hot change technology. And Sequence Kinetics manages processes for business and public sector organizations worldwide. And so there's some of those below that you can see there. And just a little bit about who we are at PNMsoft. We're a global company. We have offices and partner network worldwide. We've been placed on Gartner's Intelligent BPMS Magic Quadrant for 2012. We're the only pure play Microsoft-based BPM vendor that is placed on that Magic Quadrant, and IDC has placed us as well on their as a major BPM player for 2011. And there's some more facts about us there. And you can connect with us at our website at PNMsoft.com or by Facebook, on Twitter, or by LinkedIn. And you can also watch more webinars and more videos on our product, Sequence Kinetics, on our YouTube channel. And you can get to all those channels and social networks by going to our website, and just go to the footer of the website. You'll see the links right there. So if you have any questions or feedback, first of all, I want to thank James Luxford for being with us today. Thank you, James.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time, everybody.
And thank you all for attending this webinar. So once again, feedback and questions you're welcome to send to les@pnmsoft.com or jamesl@pnmsoft.com. And there's our contact information there. And you're also welcome to sign up for a BPM workshop. If you go to our website, you can sign up for that. And I'd like to thank you very much for attending this webinar. That's all for today. And this webinar, as all our webinars, will be available on our website at pnmsoft.com. Thanks very much.